Are you ready to be fired up? Because I sure am. I have Joe McCall. He's actually a personal friend of mine. He's been in my mastermind inner circles, multiple of them, quite frankly, for the past 4 or 5 years. We've become friends, and we were actually having some back end chitter chatter, and I said, Joe, let's hold it. I want to learn about how to differentiate yourself, how to utilize marketing, innovation, how to be different, and also Joe is like a massive investor. He has coaching clients from around the country. He actually goes live every single weekend and teaches people exactly what they would do to get land developments. Now, this is just one of his things that he's done over time, but I want you to really listen to this podcast and see how his marketing brain works. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Krista, how are you?
I am good. I'm so good. Like I kept cutting you off. I didn't mean to, but I always feel like the best conversations happen before and after the podcast. So I kept trying to like kind of cut you off so people can kind of get behind.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny because we could talk for hours about marketing stuff. And Krista was like, no, this is so good. Let's save this for the podcast. And I said, okay, fine. Let's do it.
Right. So just, a little bit about Joe. So he has been the host of the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. And he's the author of 4 best-selling books on investing. And I personally know him. I've seen him speak on massive stages across the country with these huge marketers, very influential people, and they ask Joe McCall to be on stage. And one of the things I love most about him is that he just is a real kind person. Like, he's a kind person. He shares everything. He leads with value, which, by the way, is what all of you should do. And one of the things that he says that he loves more than anything is outsourcing. In fact, he has something that's called MAD, which is marketing, automations, and delegation. So, Joe, welcome to the Fired Up podcast.
Come on, let's go. I love being fired up.
Yeah, I know, you always are. So, okay, so Joe, so let's talk a little bit about, and this is, so everyone listening to me, please have an open mind, okay? I think the reason why Joe is so successful in a very niche market, as well as I am, is because of the fact that we have learned what other industries do outside of our industry and taken that and put it into ours.
So 100%.
Right? So can you talk to me a little bit about, I know so talk a little bit about what you do every single Saturday.
Well, I'm a real estate investor first and foremost, but I also do a lot of teaching and coaching. And I really love teaching people how to do real estate investing. And I've been doing that. I remember even before I quit my job, because I was making more money doing deals than I was in my full-time job. And I was a civil engineer. And, but I remember I got this domain because I was thinking in the back of my mind, I'm doing these deals. I want to teach people how to do these deals later on. So I bought a domain and started listening to podcasts and started really focusing on building an audience by delivering tons and tons of value. So back then, if you remember the real estate investment clubs in 2007, 8, and 9, there was RIAs were really, really big. There weren't really webinars and stuff like that. And so I would ask to speak at certain events and boot camps and real estate investment clubs just to deliver value, not asking anything in return. And so I started growing an audience and started getting invited onto a lot of platforms to speak because I was just always wanting to give and share and deliver value. And so that's what really helped me. And then through all of the marketing that I've done with my podcasts and YouTube videos and internet marketing stuff, in the consulting business, we do services, marketing done for you services, and sell software and sell courses and do consulting and things like that. Well, anyway, I've always tried to lead with value first. And if people just from the free stuff that I give away can get enough information to go and do a deal and make some money, then I've won, right? And so like what I sell is not necessarily the content because I give tons of that away for free, but what I sell a lot of the done for you services, the coaching and consulting, the software, things like that. Okay. So I thought I want to do something different that most people kind of don't do. And you were talking about looking at other industries and seeing what they're doing. That's why I'm in these masterminds, is I want to see what other people are doing outside of our space, right? Because we can get kind of in this little bubble. So I started seeing other people doing this where they would, for a class, let's get a bunch of people in together and let's actually do the stuff. Let's teach the stuff by actually doing it. And so I thought, oh, and we have a mutual friend, Pace Morby. He's got a huge audience, and he does this a lot where, and then another guy, Alex Hermosi, done this a lot in the past, where let's teach how to how to do what we're doing by actually doing it live in front of a live audience. So we're either going to look really cool, or we're going to have egg on our face, but it doesn't matter. Let's go for it. It'll be fun. So I started doing this class on Saturdays where I say, hey, listen, I'm teaching land investing. That's my kind of niche that I'm in right now.
Let me
And
just
we don't do,
on, Joe. Land investing. That was kind of muffled. So Joe teaches people how to invest in land and purchase and acquire and sell land. So land deals, raw vacant land. Okay. Sorry.
yes, yeah. And we don't do anything to it. We don't subdivide it. We don't put utilities in it. We don't even do a survey. We don't do perk tests, soil tests, none of that. We just buy it for super cheap and sell it for cheap. Or sometimes we sell it with owner financing for payments. So anyway, I do this class on Saturday. Hey, listen, let's go into a brand new market that I've never done deals in before. And I'm going to let you guys pick it. You guys pick the state, you pick the county, and I'm going to help them guide them into picking a good state and a good county. And then I'm going to set everything up inside of my software. I'm just going to show you how to do it. And then we're going to go in and we're going to do some research. We're going to find out who are the active buyers that are buying land in these areas. What are they buying? How much are they paying for it? And then we're going to pull a list of people who own vacant land, and we're going to download it and put it into my software. And we're going to start sending out marketing to these people. And I like to send postcards, real simple, boring, plain postcards. It just says, hey, do you want to sell your land? Call us, we'll buy it. And the postcard sends them to a voicemail. So I show them how to set all of this up. And then we go online and we go to homes.com and we'll look for realtors that have vacant listings that are maybe over 6 months old. And we will, on a homes.com, it gives the realtor's phone number and email address. And we'll just start calling realtors live on the class on Saturday and just start calling and trying to talk to people. And then we'll go and make offers. We'll actually go and make offers to vacant land. Sometimes we'll talk to sellers that own the land. Sometimes we'll just talk to the realtors. It just depends if it's listed or not. And then we'll go make offers. So I'll show people live, like, okay, here's a little 1/4 acre lot near Fort Myers, Florida. And let's go look to see what it's worth. So we'll go look and I'll show them how I evaluate deals and then how I come up with my offers and then how the contract works. So I show them my contract and we send it out. So I'm really trying hard to like make it interactive and live. And I've learned a lot of things from you, Krista, because you've talked before, like our number one job when we're doing live challenges or live events is to get them to, number one, believe that it works. And number two, to get them to believe that it works for them. And so I've really been, I try hard to do that. And I've been trying hard to be like 80% mindset, 20% tactical, but my Saturday workshops tend to be like, I try to do as much mindset as possible, but I really go deep into the tactical stuff and people love it. They really do love it. And even people who don't sign up for my program are still leaving that little class with a lot of value.
I want to take the class. I swear to God. So I'm going to get the link from you. But I mean, that takes some serious cojones is to do that live. So you're saying you're letting the people on the call somehow from a whatever pick the area. You're going into a blind market, picking a place, but giving them good tools and strategies and what a good is, right? Like you wouldn't go choose, San Francisco and there's zero land in San Francisco. You'd pick a place where there actually had land and you're
Exactly.
influencing them and coaching them on the best place to choose. And then you're like, that is so scary and amazing all at the same time because you don't know what's going to get thrown at you. I mean, making those cold calls and calling the agents and the people has got to be a lot.
Well, it was hard at first. And you know what's funny? I will sell my course better the more problems I have. Like last Saturday, my software wasn't working. It was like glitching. The phone number wasn't working. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed. And And I said, well, guys, this is real life. This is what happens, but let's plow on anyway. And I just started using my cell phone to make phone calls instead of the software. And then um, whatever, later on, it started working again. But like if I have problems where, recently, for some reason, Redfin does not work very well on Google Chrome, the browser, Google Chrome browser. And so like I was like, oh man, this is frustrating. And I could have let it like trip me up, but I said, let's just use Safari. So I went into Safari and looked at Redfin on Safari and showed them how to do it in there. So it always helps though when I start the whole class with like, okay, guys, I don't know how this is going to go. And there will probably be technical issues and problems, but just bear with me. We're all here and we're going to just have fun.
That's
And
life.
so,
That's
yeah.
it's funny today. One of my students just she texted me and said this happened, this, and I go, hey, that's gonna always happen. You're always that is life. Life is always going to happen. Things are always going to come up. You just have to deal with them, right? And so I think that
Yeah.
telling people that, and it's actually believable. But Joe, I love that strategy. Like, and I have to tell you, I don't know. I'd be scared. I think like to do it. Okay.
Well, I was scared too, but it's like it gets easier. And I tell people, hey, it helps me when I tell them in advance, like, hey, this may completely fail and I may have egg on my face. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. They kind of just appreciate the raw reality of it. And so when you do make your first call, it's always hard because you're cold calling and don't know if the person is going to yell at you or you're just going to get a bunch of voicemails. That's one of the hard things about it is when you're calling, you get a lot of voicemails. So sometimes if I'm getting too many voicemails, I'll just pull somebody from the Zoom and I'll unmute them. We'll just practice like role playing. They'll be the seller or they'll be the realtor and I'll be the investor. And so then we'll just practice role playing with them. And that helps a lot. People love hearing that kind of role playing as well. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. You know what would be a good idea too is for you to still have like the dialer going, and while you're doing the role playing, so you're not wasting time. And then when a live call comes up, you're like, and you just go for it, right? Like do that.
Yeah.
You're still doing
Yeah.
role.
I did it once where I had a bunch of VAs, virtual assistants, doing cold calling for me. But it takes a little bit more planning because it's hard to get the lead coming in that quickly on just a 3-hour class.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like anybody watching this in any industry, you could figure something out that you could do similar. Maybe, it's build a funnel. If you're a realtor, it could be let's call a bunch of FSBOs for sale by owners or expired listings together, right? If you are, um, if you're, there's always going to be, if you're selling a service or a product that is teaching people how to do something, all right, then
Live.
just do it live and show them how it's done.
Most of these people, and this, and everyone listening to me, you're probably like, what does this have to do with real estate and lending? And it doesn't apply to me. Yes, it absolutely does. And the reason it applies to you is because what Joe is doing is very non-conventional and people do not do he's going against the grain of what most people will do, and that's why he's very successful. Okay. So what I do as an entrepreneur is I look at something like Joe and I go, okay, so he's doing that in his arena. How could I break that into the real estate arena? So Joe, do me a favor. Let's figure out now. Let's just say, which I'm a real estate coach, right? And I'm coaching my real estate students how to emulate this type of a scenario because I want to do it. And like seriously, I want to have you on one of my coaching calls and like, you can help me with it. But how do I teach this to my coaching students and say, because we're always trying to look for new ways to be innovative. How do we do this? We pick a Saturday, and we'll go through the tactics of it. But what would be the strategy you think to do something like this on a Saturday through a virtual Zoom training link to get more sellers? Not a seller seminar, not a buyer seminar. We already teach that. It's different than that. Let's just brainstorm.
Well, you got to look at what you teach people to do. One of them that you do a really good job teaching people how to do is video marketing, right? So um, you could pull up a list of for sale by owners in a certain, and you let the people pick a market. All right. You could say, hey, let's pick a state. Let's go into, well, you don't find very many FSBOs in California. Like maybe Oklahoma, or even go and find rental properties. This is what I would maybe think about doing. Go find rental properties. And then every rental property has a phone number there, right? And you could just start calling the landlords and the property managers and just make a couple phone calls. Now you'll get a lot of voicemails, but that's one thing you could do. Um, Another thing you could do is like you say, all right, who's got a bunch of old leads? Everybody's got old leads, right? Have them send you during the live workshop a bunch of their old leads. And
Oh,
then you could get on the phone and start calling them, maybe do some videos like cell phone texting videos, or I don't know if you use Bonjoro or BombBomb, or even Loom now is a really cool tool. And you could just go ahead and send them some videos. It's like, hey, then maybe you could do, you could have everybody like, if you want to do a video for your Facebook page or your LinkedIn profile or something like that about a certain topic, have them come up with a topic, and you kind of have to maybe do a survey or look at the chat, have somebody help you with this, because it's hard to kind of see these chats flying through, but just say, all right, so pick a market. Give me a topic, and then somebody spit out a topic that looks good to you, and you can do a video on that. And so then while doing live, just turn your camera on and record a video. Hey guys, my name is Krista, and I am one of the premier real estate agents in this market. And I just want to tell you a little story about this and that. Or I want you to check out this property, and you could do it while you're like on the computer looking at the listing, and this property is for sale right now for this, and this would be great if you're a landlord and you're looking for fix and flip property, or if you're looking for a nice, cute home for first time home buyer, whatever. You're doing the video, and you're just making it live and raw, and then you post it on your social media, on your Facebook page or whatever. And so everybody can just, the idea is to demonstrate what you're teaching them and show them how easy it is to help them get over their fear, because a lot of people think in their minds, well, I'm not as good as Krista is, or I'm not attractive, or it must be really hard to talk to people. So like I get this all the time from people. It's like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. I thought it would be a lot harder than that. And it's okay to make mistakes. Like, and sometimes I intentionally make mistakes
you
to
have
show
them
them it's,
showing it. So you don't have them, because I think it'd be great to have them do it. You just demonstrate how to do it.
yeah, one of the problems, and we were talking about Peng Joon before, and I remember talking to Peng Joon about this. He used to do workshops where he made them do the stuff. But the problem is, like, if you make them do it, you're going to be waiting forever, because the person who's really slow is going to be holding everybody up. So
Yeah.
it's better just to do it and show them, because they can watch it and replay it later. But like, yeah. So
They can Google.
another big thing that's important in all this is my Saturday workshop is $7, so I charge a little bit of money for it. And
That and I don't know, like I've never done this before. That's why I'm loving this conversation, So do you think for a real estate agent or a lender to do something similar to this to attract sellers and buyers, that it'd be better for them to charge you charge $7? Should they charge?
a little bit, and this is crazy, Krista, because when I do a free webinar like this, I'll get 35% of the people who signed up will show up.
That's an inflated number. The number is actually 10 and like 20%. It's
Right.
not.
But when I charge $7, I'll get 85% people show up.
That's, you must be having some crazy follow through. Like that's insane. So good.
It's well, the people who pay attention,
I know.
right? So when you charge a little bit of money and it's a different kind of a class, and they know, oh my gosh, I get to actually watch. It's like everybody wants to see the guy that's going to, maybe make a fool out of himself or something. Like, um, it's kind of entertaining, but it's also educational.
Like Joe, I love it. I mean, it's like, and you don't know what's going to happen on the other end. So how many, like a lot of hangups and that thing. So what would you say? Let's just, now I'm asking you for help. You are a real estate coach and you're teaching realtors how to, you said for sale by owners, which isn't not a lot in California, or expireds, which actually maybe a little bit more now, or just picking up the phone. What would your conversation be? What would you say to people?
So we're looking for listings. Is that right? Um, If honestly, I would start calling landlords and property managers.
Why property managers though? They don't want you to take their business.
Um, well, they have clients who have properties they want to sell, right? And I mean, I've never met a single landlord who does not want to sell at least one of their properties. They always have a problem property in their portfolio.
Yeah.
But what if you called these property managers and said, "Hey, how you doing, Jim? Um, my name is Krista. I have some clients that are looking to buy some rental properties right now. And you wouldn't have any clients with a property that they would want to sell, would you? And my client is also looking for a property management company. So you can just maybe you can still stay in the deal because property managers have also listing agreements. Part of the property management agreement says usually if you ever sell the property, we get the 5 or 6% commissions. So that property management company already has some kind of agreement, usually with the owner of that property, that they get commissions when they sell it. So you could approach it to be like, hey, I've got a buyer that's, looking to buy some investment properties. You wouldn't have any clients of yours that have a property they would like to sell, just a problem property with the horrible tenants that they would love to get rid of, would they? My client might be interested in buying it. And then, you would get the buyer's side of the commissions, right? And the property manager would get the listing side of the commissions. And then you could tell that property management company, of course, you can stay in the middle of the deal. My client doesn't care. Now you have to obviously you have to be truthful with all this, right? But I love calling landlords and property managers because um, uh, there's this saying, tired landlords, landlords,
I
they
have four properties in Florida. I just sold one of them. It's a freaking nightmare. Like the hurricane,
yes.
flood insurance. I'm literally selling all four properties right now. One's already sold, three now. And I'm just like, I'm done. Like I'm so done. I bought in an area. I had a horrible property manager that didn't like advise me, a realtor, on the good areas. They didn't tell me there was a freaking bus and tsunami, freeway behind me. And it doesn't attract very good tenants. It's oh my gosh. So yes, I agree. But that has to be a
Okay.
lot. How many calls are you making for that?
Well, on the workshop, it doesn't matter. Like you just gotta, they just want to hear you talking to somebody and they want to hear you make the conversation. And you could just talk to one or two people.
Are they hearing the other person?
Yeah. So I put it on speaker on my phone like this.
Joe, I love you. You're so freaking simple, which is so awesome. Like, yes, put it on speaker. They can hear it.
Yeah, yeah. And put the phone right next to the microphone that you're doing this on, or if you're wearing a lapel mic or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, you also might have people on the event with you that have leads. And maybe they're old leads, they're follow-up leads. And so you can say, all right, who's got some leads you want me to call? Have them just submit the leads maybe in advance, and then you could just start calling a bunch of them. Now, again, you're going to get a lot of voicemails.
The leads are people who they've talked to in the past, called
Yeah,
about a listing, inquired about a property, went on a listing appointment. Like that's a lead. Any of those people, right?
exactly.
And
So,
then you
so you could say, so let's say Mary gave you the leads and you could say, hey, this is Krista. I work with Mary. You talked to her before. You don't remember. Just following up to see, hey, have you sold your property yet? Or are you still looking for a home in this area? And just kind of go through, you probably have a script, just go through the script and ask them questions. And then if nobody answers and you've already, you go through and you make 5 or 10 calls, like when I've done that before, I've been like embarrassed, like, oh my gosh, they think I'm an idiot. And no, people don't care. They're just glad to see you doing it. And so then what I do is I'll do role play where I'll unmute somebody and we'll just practice talking. You know what I mean?
so how many, like I'm horrible at calling, Joe. Like I've always done attraction based marketing where I create marketing campaigns where my phone just rings, right? Like literally from video campaigns and all these things to where I've never been able to call somebody on the phone and been like, hey, and I think I'd rather eat dog crap than have to do that. So teach somebody like me who's like, I'm scared. I don't know what to say. Like I know, like how do I don't know how I like really I do not know how to do it. I've never done that. I've always been like attraction based marketing. My phone rings, people are calling me. So I'm
Well,
not
okay, then you don't want to teach you don't want to do something you're not teaching people to do,
yes.
right? So like what are you teaching them to do?
So to what you're telling. So we're basically right now we're thinking of we're trying to tell real estate agents and lenders how they can replicate this model to have some kind of a thing similar to teach stuff like buyers to attract buyers and sellers. So what would they do? Because they're scared, like realtors are scared like I am. So what would they do to be able to attract, get more buyers and sellers? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So a couple things, but like at the same time, though, that the money is made on the phone. You can't get a listing agreement without talking to anybody. And you can't get a buyer, without ever talking to them. So you've got to talk to them sometime.
Yeah.
So I would teach, the first thing would be teach the attraction type of marketing by actually doing it. So that's what I'm teaching also in this class. I'm showing them how to get the list of sellers, how to pull it down or download it, and then put it into my CRM and send out 1,000 postcards. Like I can show them how to do that in like 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to go into this market, we download the list, and maybe it's not you have some tech guy who's really strong with this stuff does it for you, but like you show them this is where you go to get it, download the list, upload it here, select this letter, this postcard, and then send it out. Boom, we just sent out 1,000 letters. Great. And then what's going to happen next? Well, the lead's going to come back in and you got to talk to them. So who wants to practice, or who's got some old leads or and then if it's an old lead, sometimes what I do is I'll say, hey, Joe, hey, Jeff, this is Joe. You probably don't remember me. I'm returning your call from a while ago. I'm just following up with that offer I sent you. Have you sold that house yet or not? So like I'm positioning that phone call with I'm returning their call. I'm following up with an offer I sent them or a listing proposal I sent them before, or a BPO broker, like whatever you call, like
Broker spies.
CMA.
Oh my gosh, this is so good, Joe. Like I am loving this because I have never done anything close to this, and I just like I
Yeah,
love learning
you
about like people. You're listening to this, you're watching this. What I want you to gravitate towards and to understand is that right now I'm learning something from Joe, and I'm trying to figure out how can I emulate what he's doing in his business model into mine. That's what you need to be doing with every like. How can I take what somebody else is doing outside of what I do and emulate it in my business model to differentiate myself, have a unique value proposition to get in front of more buyers and sellers and to sell more deals. And I will tell you one thing, no one else is doing this in real estate. No one, because I'm like sitting there, want to pick Joe's brain. This is how you make money.
what if you I'd have to go through your program some more, but like, is there, you probably teach them, okay, first do this, then do this, then do this, right? Like, well, is there any part of that that you can actually do with them, for them, live on the class?
Yeah,
Put something on social media. So you share your screen and you show yourself doing it.
actually, I've done that. I teach them video text messages, and I literally show, hey, go into the social media, do this and do a thing. And one time, anyways, I did something to a gal who had lost her son, and she was like, "This was the nicest message I've ever gotten. Thank you." Like I was like, "Oh my god, she lost her son," but I said, "Hey, I know you lost your son." Anyways, but yes, I did that. So, but I want to be able to show them as well. That's a good idea. Good idea, Joe. Yeah.
And again, it could be you're doing this for somebody else. So it doesn't have to be necessarily for your own real estate deals. It could be for somebody else's.
So let me ask you a question. So let's take this scenario. Okay, let's just say I'm trying to help realtors here and lenders. Let's just say you have an open house, even though I don't do them. Um, but if you have an open house and you're about ready to list a house this coming weekend on 123 Street, tell me how you could teach realtors how to reverse prospect about an upcoming open house that you had. What would you do?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what realtors typically do to advertise that, but I see a lot of like they'll send postcards out to the neighbors announcing
Yes.
the open house. So what if you could show them how to do a direct mail campaign? Like, and just show them, okay, now we're gonna, this house is here. Let's go and let's download a list of everybody that owns a property around this area, and let's get their names and addresses, and then let's create a simple postcard and send it to them.
How
Um,
download that list? Like real property reports. What system do you use to get their email addresses?
well, I don't use their emails. I get their physical mailing addresses.
And
So
name what do you use for that?
I use a software called PropStream. And
Props.
what PropStream will let you go in and you can look at that property, and then you can draw a circle around it, and it'll give you all of the property owners that are in that circle.
Cost of that. So I'm just trying to write that down. I've never heard.
It's $97 a month.
It's $97 a month. That's it.
PropStream, yeah.
How many properties can you get?
You can download up to 10,000 a month.
Prop Stream. Oh my gosh. Do you have an affiliate link for that?
PropStreamJoe.com.
Prop Stream Joe. Oh my God, Joe, I'm gonna get it.
PropStreamJoe.com.
Prop Stream. Is that your software?
No, I sell it as an affiliate.
So
And
Joe,
they give great commission too, by the way. You should talk to them.
I will. Can you get like their email address from that too?
No, no. So you
Prop.
can't get the owner's emails. You can't skip trace them and get their phone numbers. I don't know how good the skip tracing is. So
Gosh.
you could, and I could show you how to do it, but you find a property, you draw a circle around it, and then you could say, give me all of the property owners that are in that area. And then you could skip trace them, get their name and phone numbers. The accuracy is decent. It's only as good as the
What's skip tracing?
skip tracing means, like, it'll give you their phone numbers.
Okay. Wow. And
So
then
if somebody had an open house, I would show them.
they go to
Uh,
propstreamjoe.com. That's how you get the list. Let's promote Joe on this thing. Like, go to propstreamjoe.com, get the list, and then what do you do, Joe?
I would send them a letter or a postcard. Um, uh, there there is some software. Okay, this is something I do that works really well for investing. If I'm looking for a buyer, I'm going to share this little secret tip with you. All right. And this is, again, something you can demonstrate and people love, because this is something they can actually do during the workshop.
Joe, before you show me this strategy, so basically, you go after investors, okay? So, or you go after people that want to sell their home or flip their home, right? They don't want to sell their house on a traditional market. So you have a process where you go after sellers that do not want to list traditionally. Now,
Yeah.
realtors think that that's a bad thing, because if you're not listing your home on the traditional MLS, you're losing money and you're screwing people over. That's what the realtor's mindset. I have interviewed a lot of people like you that help people sell their home when they're in need of selling, that don't want to sell traditionally, meaning somebody died or they're hoarders, or they don't like, they have to sell because of divorce, or they need the finances, whatever it is. There's a lot of those people out there. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's enough that it makes people like you very, very wealthy, right? And you have a process on how to find those type of people. So that's what you're going to kind of talk about, right? How you find those properties, because that is so helpful for a realtor. Like, oh my gosh. And they don't know about it, right? Because they are thinking like you're kind of the enemy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's unfortunate because I love working with realtors, and a lot of realtors bring me deals because they have listings that they don't want to sell. They need way too much work. Um, the and the seller needs to sell it fast, and the realtor knows, in this condition, if there's a tenant in there and if it's dirty, they're not going to be able to sell it fast. Hey, I know an investor that will pay you cash and can close in 30 days, and just talk to him. So I have realtors that bring me leads and deals all the time. I get realtors that bring me vacant land deals because they don't want to list vacant land. It sits out there on the market forever. They want to spend all their time listing houses. And so I tell realtors, hey, bring me your vacant land deals and I'll pay you 10% commissions. And they're like, oh, somebody calls them and says, hey, I want to sell my land. Well, I know a guy who can help, just probably will buy it. You don't have to go through the hassle of listing it. And so then they bring it to me. So I think investors are in some ways better at marketing. I almost said guerrilla marketing, but I think investors are better at marketing to get leads than realtors are in a lot of ways. And I love direct mail.
1,000% agree with you on that. 1,000%. Because you guys have to hunt. You have to hunt.
Yes. So anyway, I love direct mail because direct mail, I can target people that have the properties that I want to buy, in the zip codes that I want to buy in. And, I can target people who have 3 bedrooms, 1,500 square foot or bigger, built after 1980 in these zip codes that have owned the properties for over 20 years and have a lot of equity. Like I can target those people. Those lists are easy to get. And when it comes to finding buyers, I can also target buyers. I can go in and I can say, all right, show me all of the investor buyers that have bought a house in this zip code in the last year and that own at least 5 other properties in their portfolio. So that's a really easy list from PropStream that I can get. And so now I know who are the active buyers. So one of my favorite ways, and this is something that I used to do a workshop called 5 Leads in 5 Days. It was a 5-day challenge, and it cost $5, and I showed them how to get 5 leads. And so this was one of the things that I did there. I would get a yellow legal pad of paper, and I'll tell everybody to go do this right now. And this is an example of me. I have a property that I want to sell. So let's say I have a vacant lot that's worth $30,000. I'm buying it for 10 and I want to sell it for 20. All right. So what I do is I'll get a red Sharpie and a yellow legal pad of paper, and this is what I'll write, and I have everybody do it with me.
Find out information, if you'd like to learn more about this strategy and many more. Do me a favor, sign up somewhere on this event, on this page for my event, Unstoppable Agent. It's virtual. You can take everywhere home. It's less than a couple cups of coffee, and I guarantee you that you will learn more in the first day than you will learn all year in real estate. And guess what? If you don't think so, I'll give you your refund. Click the link somewhere on this page. I'm Krista. See you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.